All right, good morning. Welcome to Florida Realty Radio. I'm here with our co-host, Larry Oliphant. How are you this morning, Larry?
Doing great, Reggie. How are you this morning?
Very good, thank you. Francis, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Very good. And Brian, are you with us this morning?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Reg.
Good morning. I'm really excited about today's show, actually. Florida's such a great place to live. I was born in Orlando and raised all over the country, but I'm back in Central Florida, and this is a great time of year. Today, what is it? 49 degrees outside, perfect blue skies, awesome weather when the rest of the country is either under snow or freezing. So we're very blessed to be here. Today's actually a really special show. First of all, it's the first Tuesday after Super Bowl Sunday, and although this isn't a sports talk radio show, it's actually a very significant date in the state of Florida when it comes to the real estate business. The traditional buying season, the highest peak buying season in Florida, starts February 8th, the day after Super Bowl, traditionally and historically for the past 50 years. Very interesting topic matter today on the Super Bowl, too. I think there'll be some relevance in that. But it's really interesting to know for those of you watching and listening that today's the day to get out of the office and get out into the field and start meeting some opportunities. Right now is when buyer demand has never been higher in the 12-month period, and it'll continue throughout that time frame all the way until until summer school is over for the kids. So there's about a 4-month window here where most top producers and top producing agents do the most bulk of their transaction in a 12-month period, starting literally this week. So it's a pretty significant show. This is the February 9th, 2016 episode. This week is also another interesting milestone in Florida. Today, in fact, marks the 100th anniversary of the Florida Realtor Association. So for 100 years, the real estate business has pretty much been conducted the same day in and day out, year over year, and it's a pretty big event for the Florida Association of Realtors. The magazine this month has a lot of showcase highlights and old pictures and historic throwbacks to where we came from as an industry and then where we are today. And boy, it has certainly changed a great deal out in the field, but the business of real estate and the relationship building, the lead cultivating and the relationship conversion, and the long-term lifetime clients and friendships that you make have all remained the same throughout that 100 years. It's an important time right now to reflect back on your business as well this year. And Francis is going to be joining us in a little bit to talk a little bit about, how your 2016 business plan is being executed upon, that hopefully most of you have done back as early as November or December of last year. So just a couple of quick announcements. The Florida Association of Realtor Convention and Trade Expo is actually here in Orlando again this year. It'll August 24th through the 28th. But it would be smart for you guys to make plans. Every single year we go to this event, new contacts and relationships and home builders and home developments in other parts of the state and sales tactics and tools get released at that convention. So make sure you put that in your calendar and plan for that. Some interesting news I want to cover, just kind of all over the place, but definitely relevant for your buyers, sellers, and investors. FloridaRealtor.com has reached 50 million users, up over 40% of last year, and it's the fastest growing online real estate service of its kind in the United States right now, and which also, of course, pertains to Florida. It's the #1 online real estate destination in 2015, and they're expecting over a 25% increase in 2016. That is a significant amount of traffic. What does that mean to you? Well, as you all know, clients tend to land on what they find in Google first in their home search. What comes up first typically? Zillow, Trulia, HomeGain. Realtor.com tends to be in the top 10 on most searches as well. It would be my advice to you to discourage the use of Trulia and Zillow, who do not have real-time active MLS listings. Only Realtor.com and brokers that have platforms such as Selectrified, in our case, that connects directly to the MLS. It's the only way a buyer or a seller is going to see real-time data as you guys know, Zillow and Trulia are not authorized National Association of Realtor MLS users. However, Realtor.com is. So if you want your clients, if you don't have a system in your office, if your broker doesn't provide you one or you haven't personally acquired one, it would be our recommendation to have your clients use Realtor.com because it'll be a more effective property searching tool with accurate listings instead of outdated prices and missing listings and unrecorded sales that have occurred that Zillow and Trulia just can't keep up with. Also, Zillow and Trulia's usage is down 15% year over year from last year, which was kind of a surprising statistic for me to see because I know everybody who's not even in real estate know the names from the national advertising and just the general home searching. But do your customer a favor. Either point them to your in-house platform that's connected directly to the MLS or Realtor.com. It'll help your sales. It'll help your client services. There's some other interesting. Yes.
I want to comment on a couple things that you mentioned there. Going back 100 years ago, it was a very personal relationship between a buyer or a seller and a realtor. And with the advent of all the technology, all the tools, all the search listing services available, ultimately, when two people do business together, it's still about that relationship. So don't lose sight that what was old is new again, but what will be current forever, which is the one-to-one relationship you have with people. In the end, you will be able to overcome price, something not perfect with the home, something not perfect within the system of buying or selling or investing in a home. It's about the relationship that you share with other people. We're going to talk a bit more about that later. Number two is about some other statistics about the state of Florida. 95 million tourists in 2015, up 2%, 64 million setting foot in Central Florida, up 3%, estimated over the next 25 years to grow to 100 million tourists in Central Florida. And that on the back end of the report that 21% of all purchases in the last 12 to 24 months have been either vacation homes or second homes. So the opportunity in the state of Florida is better than it is anywhere else in the country. I thought I'd add in a couple.
No, Larry, that's fantastic stats right there. I'm glad you mentioned them because it's going to go right in line with some supporting demographic and statistical information that I have. And the purpose for sharing this information isn't just to bring you just news to use. It's to confirm and solidify the fact that Florida is one of the fastest growing population states in the country. It's in the top 5. And the opportunities for professional real estate salespeople, agents, brokers, commercial brokers, land buyers, investor specialists, even mortgage lending, title, insurance, and inspection. There's so many niche markets to choose from. There's so many, in fact, a lot of realtors actually get sidetracked and distracted and try to do them all. So we want to share with the stat that Larry was just reviewing for vacation rentals for those in South Florida, Central Florida, parts of Jacksonville, and parts of Tampa where those markets are prevalent. There are some very exciting opportunities in both landlord ownership and income properties as well as short-term rentals on a larger scale multifamily development. So
Reggie, I want to go to one more stat, not well known about the state of Florida. You have some of the largest colleges with undergraduate students on the tail end of the bubble of the largest group ever going to college. When you look at University of Central Florida, the largest undergraduate school in America with over 60,000 students. When you look at University of South Florida, University of Florida, Florida State, and others, you've got more kids going to college, graduating from college, and finding jobs in the local marketplace. So you've got, if I'm a young realtor, I'm going to really focus on that generation from 25 to 35 years old, the early millennial nesters, and graduates that go to school here, both out-of-state and in-state students, more than any other state in the country, end up living in the state of Florida after graduating from a Florida university.
You know, Larry, that's really interesting about UCF and the other schools, and you must have been reading my mind. Maybe that's the reason why you and I are co-hosts together, because we just have that connection. Let me give you some more stats here, and some other reasons for you guys to think about specializing in your business plan in some of these areas, because the stats are phenomenal for opportunities for real estate professionals to increase their business and make more sales. A few just statistical data on home sales specifically, though. There are fewer buyers in the fourth quarter of last year into January of 2016, there are fewer buyers bringing all cash to closes. It's down by 34%. So there's a significant reason for that. However, Florida is only second to Alabama, and specifically in Dade, Broward, and in West Palm, which has the highest number of cash buyers in Florida this year. So although cash sales are down, Florida is got they're the second highest amount of cash buyers in the United States, and predominantly in the South Florida area. Not that they don't occur here in Central Florida or in Jacksonville or Brevard County, Space Coast, Tampa. It's just that that's where the population density is, and the price points are also a little bit lower, so it makes paying cash easier to facilitate because the price point is more reachable. In addition to that, the main reason for the sharp decline overall, however, nationwide, not just in Florida, is that there has been a catastrophic drop, a monumental drop in REO sales and foreclosure sales that really started back at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they went down to only 7.3% of the total closes in Florida is an REO, which means, so it was as high as 42% in 2011, 35%, 2012, gradually going down. Right now, it's only at 7.3%. So as we knew before, if you've been in the business for more than a few years, cash was king. Lending underwriting had been completely restricted, and cash buying REOs and foreclosures and short sales was the main inventory out there. Well, right now it's kind of normalized, so that's a good thing. The good thing is that sales happen quickly now. Banks have gotten their acts together. If it is an REO or foreclosure, a buyer can actually put in an offer and get an answer within a week or two, rather than 2 or 3 or more months. So they've cleaned up their business, but that's an indicator to the realtors out there that the business now is more traditional. And look, the forecast for 2016 is that it will normalize. In other words, we're not going to have big spikes in appreciation like we saw even in 2015, and there's some further stats that show normalization in a lot of areas, such as luxury homes, that are going to stabilize. REOs are out of the market. That means that supply and demand in regular resales in normal neighborhoods across the state are going to be just like it was prior, in a normalized market where you're not having any of these custom fluctuations to work with. The roughly one half of the REOs that are done, although it's only 7-8% of the business, half of them though are still done in cash. So they're great buyers to work with. They're primarily investors, and mastering your usage of working with investors is an important part of growing your business, and it will continue to be an important part if you're an active realtor every day, hitting the field, meeting new people, shaking new hands, introducing yourself to these investor circles, or these individuals can bring, 5, 6 plus transactions a year, if not more, specializing in those cash buyer areas. And they're typically properties under $150,000. Now, I want to point out something that Larry was talking about the millennials. The millennials have the power right now to reshape the real estate landscape. That's how many millennials are out there right now. It's the first also generation that walks into a new home with a smartphone in their hand. The first generation. So the millennial population right now actually has just overshadowed baby boomers, and the millennials are ages 25 to 34. And with more of them.
And actually, yeah. I'm going to support that you're really at the beginning of the largest piece of that bubble. In 2009, there were 2 powerful statistics. First and foremost, there were more raw number of high school students going to a 4-year university. At the same time, it was also the highest percentage of all high school students going into a 4-year university. Think back to 2009, those kids now, those young adults are 25 to 26. The boom had begun about 7 or 8 years earlier. You're now just coming into the very beginning of that huge bubble of first-time home ownership. Huge bubble that will be for the next 10 to 12 years. You got the largest piece at 25, 26 years old. You've got the leaders in that group at about 31 to 32 years old, making more money, having graduated from 4-year universities, pursuing graduate degrees. it's an amazing time to be a realtor in the state of Florida.
It really is, and also to be engaged in the day-to-day social and basic fundamental technologies of smartphones and social media, because that's how they're finding their realtors. That's how they're finding the opportunities out there in the marketplace, and they're using mobile technology to look at homes while they're watching TV in bed at night, or on their lunch break, or MLS sites during their lunch breaks at work.
I know that Brian's going to talk about lead conversion a little bit later, but when you think about someone that's got a social media following of a couple thousand Facebook friends, active on Twitter, they will never need a lead going into the future because they will sell to their current like person, plus they will get into the family realm of second homes, vacation homes, third homes, etc. It's a great time to be a realtor. It's a great time to have a game plan to win at that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yep.
But I'm young and I've graduated with a degree from someplace in the state of Florida. I'm staying right here and I'm going to get into the real estate industry.
Nice, Larry. And even further, I mean, it's like you're reading my notes here. Generation X, the ages 35 to 55, had for the first time in 2015 the lowest number of buyers entering into home sales. So it's on the decline. So what does that mean? Millennials are now in their prime home buying years right now, and income ranges. And housing demand is positioned to skyrocket because of them coming into the market like Larry is covering there. This is a
Reggie, we've talked about so many different ways and reasons to be successful in the real estate industry, and especially in the Florida real estate market. Let's go there for a moment about how does each person create a game plan to win. And when you talk about REOs taking a nosedive and traditional lending coming back, into the marketplace and dominating the marketplace, it's about creating a winning game plan. And it's also understanding that if you're on a game plan that won 3 or 4 years ago, but you're hoping that it comes back, hope is not a strategy. I got to tell you, hope's not a strategy in the boardroom, on a sports field, or in the bedroom. You got to know, right? That's just the way that it is. So it's about making a game plan from this point forward, which is the definition of strategy, from this point forward. So I think maybe it's a good time to help center the conversation this morning on creating a winning game plan. What do you think?
I do.
Hey, Reggie.
Yes, Brian.
Hey, Reggie. Can I haven't, but I want to speak up a little bit here on what Larry just said. At the end of the day, these people, the millennials, the 25-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, they're connecting on social media. They're connecting on Facebook. They're connecting on LinkedIn. They're connecting in all these different ways. They're texting. What they're not doing is they're not sitting in front of a computer anymore. They're not emailing people. They're not doing that. They're all doing it from their phone, like you mentioned, Reggie. In my experience of working with thousands of realtors, the reality of it is if we think back 100 years ago, people connected, as Larry and you guys said, on a deep, personal level. But what I find that's so interesting today is that I have a young daughter, 21 years old, and I know everything she's doing all the time because I can connect with her and all of her friends, and I'm 47 years old. And the reality of it is that we've never had a time in the history of realty and real estate where we connect with every agent with the click of a button, connect with every demographic. Never been able to have that so easy in this business, to be able to connect to people on a personal level. Social media, Facebook, all these different websites allow real estate agents to connect with every demographic, every group. Some of the fastest growing Facebook users are people over the age of 55. The point is that we connect with people on our neighborhood level through social media that's really untapped in the industry today with what we're discussing right now.
Hey, Brian, that's some really incredible insight. And I hope the listeners and the viewers out there really got, I hope it came through clearly on the audio there, what he was saying, because it's affecting all parts of our professional and personal lives. And I think that the overarching umbrella point is that, engaging in this society of smartphones and technology and just social interaction, we're not shaking as many hands initially, but we're meeting 5 times the amount of people through tools that are the internet's provided us to be able to interact with. Which is, to me, it's an exciting time. I'm a tech guy. I like that kind of thing. I think our customers like it. Like Brian had mentioned, 55 years and above people are joining Facebook faster than any other time since Facebook's been around for, what, 10 years now. Larry, we're going to segue to you in a moment. I just want to wrap up with just a couple more things. So as a result of the Generation X's declining and the millennials increasing, there's a huge pent-up demand out there. But one of the other interesting things that millennials are bringing to the table, which is also changing the real estate landscape across the country, and it's in every market, it's not just here, you're seeing it out there right now showing homes, is they are influencing how new construction and design for strong home energy efficient and green homes, as well as smart home technology. They're demanding a more eco-friendly home being built, a more energy-efficient home, and homes that have things like echoes and digital thermostats and voice-controlled and timer-controlled and even cell phone app-controlled lighting in the home and alarm systems and door opening locks. And how there's doorbells now that you could be at work, they press a doorbell at your house and you're viewing them on your cell phone saying hello at the front door and your home's 20 miles away. They're demanding that kind of technology. So as you work with the millennials, keep these things in mind. You know, you could be 45, 50 years old as a realtor very successfully with a 27-year-old first-time home buyer if you're aware of these generational differences between what they're thinking and, you know, remembering they grew up we grew up not having internet. You know, we started with the Atari was our first digital experience, right? Well, in the millennial age, they all grew up not knowing what it was like not to have internet. So relating to them, I think, could be easy as long as you stay engaged. And then the other thing that they're influencing is the size of the average home, which has actually gone up slightly now to a new home construction to 2,721 square feet. So pretty big home. Not first-time buy. These aren't first-time buyer homes. These are newly constructed homes that if they're designing or moving upselling into, but first-time buyers are still in the sub 1,700 range. But to see a 2,721 square foot average millennial home size, that's a pretty big home. Obviously, there's a lot of families on their mind. There's family on their mind there, and then one of the other things that I think is kind of coming in line along with the REOs simultaneously, although they're indirectly attached, is the luxury home sales have begun to slow down since the fourth quarter of last year, and Florida is loaded with them. Every single market has oceanfront, well, except for Orlando. Pretty much every major market in Florida has waterfront, oceanfront, lakefront, water view, golf course view, land, all kinds of different amenities and communities in that luxury category, which, you know, you can consider in Florida. Average price point in Florida is $155,000. So you could consider a luxury home anywhere between $500,000 and up. They're slowing down. So that's important to know, though, that the appreciation, that means the appreciation is going to level out. So where in high demand communities where there might be REOs or lower price point or average price point homes in a nice gated community have been accelerating at a 1 to 4% per month appreciation, which is a fantastic investment, better than any investment that's out there right now. It's back. Real estate is back. In that luxury area, look for a steady appreciation amount of less than 2% every month, and most likely less than 1% at that price point, which makes it a consistent investment, but more of a home, not an investment. And then finally, in January, Wallet Hub, they're a major real estate research company. They released a study that placed Florida as the top destination in the United States for retirees looking to live out their golden years in peace and comfort for a bunch of reasons. But the top reasons, another specialist area, another, we're going from millennials now to the senior community. For seniors, it is a full-time specialist opportunity for realtors in certain areas. in particular, South Florida, Broward County, or Central Florida in the Villages is one of the largest. They're in Tampa and Jacksonville. The senior living opportunity is phenomenal. Why do they come here? Well, the study showed that was mainly based on 6 things. It has the highest percentage of people over 65 in the country, Florida does, which means they have company, they have friends, they have others that they like to be around, and it makes a senior comfortable to live in these communities. Also, the communities are very secure and full of amenities, walking distance, golf cart trails, things that just make senior living easier, and we're the #1 number of over 65 in the country. Second, Florida has the most golf courses per capita in the nation. Now, not all seniors are golfers, but certainly a large number of them would like to enjoy their time out on the golf course, so that's an attraction. Third, it's the 6th most theaters per capita in the nation for entertainment purposes, the 8th lowest cost in-home healthcare services, the 10th best state in low tax advantages for retirees, and the 15th most state for museums and other attractions that that tend to appeal to the seniors. So that's it for today on the news and stuff. But the point is that huge opportunity in Florida. Every market, there's something to focus on. Resales aren't your only other business. There's no reason for anxiety on mastering just investors only. If you went within a 2 to 4 mile radius of your home, I guarantee you, if you're watching this, you are already a motivated, dedicated professional looking to increase your business and become more successful. Within 4 miles, I guarantee you can learn your markets, you can understand where the people are gathering, you can find local meetups for investor groups if that's your angle, you can learn where the new construction developments are and the incentives they're offering for your first time and your upsell buyers. Just so much opportunity out there. So I'm going to segue with that. Being the first days of the busiest season after Super Bowl, I'd like to hand it over to Larry, who's got a really exciting message for you to get you up out of your chair, out of the office, and out in the field.
I don't know how exciting it's going to be, Reggie, but it is perfect timing based on all of the opportunities in real estate. The same with any industry, really, is how do I as an individual focus a game plan for me to win in the marketplace. If I can do everything, I probably won't be good at any of it. It's typically the philosophy. I am a huge physical anchor teacher and mentor to individual performers, top performers, CEOs, major companies, and ultimately I find those that win more often, and those that keep winning have a better game plan than those that don't. So whether you're a broker with agents who work for you, or you are an agent and you really do work for yourself, you are a business. You may be a Florida real estate professional, but you are a small to mid-sized business, and you need to take the time to do proper game planning. So we're going to use what just occurred this past weekend that started many, many years ago for the Denver Broncos. 5 years ago, over the last 5 years, the Denver Broncos have said that defense is going to help us win a championship with an aging yet wonderful quarterback. They're not going to put the pressure of winning a Super Bowl on the quarterback. If you recall, 2 years ago, they had a record-setting offense moving into the Super Bowl and got blown out by the Seattle Seahawks. Got beat up by speed and by youth and by game plan. But 5 years ago, they had someone head of football operations, John Elway, who has had recipes to win. And if you go back to the Denver Broncos back in the day, they had the Orange Crush defense. Yes, you had Terrell Davis. Yes, you had Sterling Sharp or Shannon Sharp. Yes, you had John Elway. But they won with defense. So 5 years ago, and for the last 5 years, they have drafted a defensive player with their #1 pick in the first round each year for the last 5 years. Having gotten blown out 2 years ago, they then spent $100 million in the free agency market on defensive players, like DeMarcus Ware. Came from Dallas Cowboys, had never won a championship. They want that maturity, someone who needs to win to validate his career defensively, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It does.
So what you saw unfold this weekend has really been in play for a very long time. But in the end, it's about the last 2 weeks of game planning. As professionals, as sports fanatics, we love to watch great sports. But we don't model it. Before we saw the 1 hour on the field there were 2 weeks of 50 players spending 40 hours per, if not more, so some 4,000 or 5,000 hours of game planning went into one 60-minute game, right? Game planning. What you saw was two radically different approaches. Denver had committed to a particular game plan that was working. Carolina committed to a game plan that was not working. But they were unwilling to look at the lack of success that they were achieving with their current game plan and taking a position, which is the definition of strategy or game plan, from this point forward. If I was REOs 7 or 8 years ago, I can't hope that it comes back. I have to rebuild my business model to be current and into the future. So ego and immaturity and an unwillingness to reprioritize, re-strategize their business, knowing from the very beginning that the Denver Broncos had speed from the outside, keeping Cam Newton on the inside, but it was Carolina's ego that did not allow the coaches or the players to raise their hand and say, this is not going to work going forward in the next 3 quarters. So all I'm doing here and sharing with the listeners out there, do you have a real plan to succeed this year within a vertical market, within the Florida real estate market? If so, did it work over the last 90 to 180 days? If so, what will you do to push it further faster? If not, what else will you test to create a business model that is a winning game plan? The definition of strategy is from this point forward. Not what I want to do, but what do I need to do to win in the game of real estate, in the game of football, and in the game of life. So it's a direct result of, I have a game plan that is working, do it further faster. I have a game plan that's not working. Am I going to hope that it works, or I'm going to make something else happen? We just talked about 10 different vertical industries in the Florida real estate market. Pick the one that models best for the way you play, for what's working for you, what has worked for you, and what will work for you going forward.
Hey, Larry, I think that is an excellent segue. I'm going to share something with everybody here real quick on the screen. Check this out, and let me know you guys can see this. Hold on one second here. So in this month's issue, actually, of Realtor magazine, Florida Realtor magazine, in fact, there is, backing up what Larry's saying about having a plan, not directly related to the specific tactics, but more about, do you have a plan? Have you tested your plan? If you are successful, how are you going to push it forward more? And if you're not, how are you testing what to do next, or your plan to adjust to make your plan more richer immediately, not 90 days later, but this month? They have a very quick business plan builder in this month's issue, where you can set your goals, your financial goals, but then specifically tactics here that you can pull out of these worksheets to complete a written plan that can be posted on your wall, which at the end here there's a link that you can click on and you can actually download your plan. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that there are tools available to help you achieve and have that mindset, like Larry's saying, of a professional, a professional real estate athlete, we could say. So with that being said, it's also a great segue, I think, also into what Francis is bringing to the show today. Francis, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you guys doing?
It's all yours.
Definitely. I think that what we've been talking about has been very on point, because we're in the second month of 2016. And unfortunately, most of the agents at this point haven't even thought about planning at all. And it is quite a shocker when you're speaking with an agent over the phone and they have made the commitment and the decision that this is going to be their career. Like Larry said, this is your business. And if you haven't sat down with time to plan for 2016, then you cannot have expectations for the end of the year. And on the second month right now, I think that before you even start planning, there has to be a foundation of your daily habits. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about, because as a business, you need to have a vision statement, a mission statement, and sometimes as a single agent, we don't even think about those things. We decide to go into real estate because there's possibly some money to be acquired. There's a retirement opportunity, but we don't understand that with all those roadblocks that's going to come your way, there has to be more passion than just money. So the first thing I think that agents should be asking themselves is why? Why am I in this business? If you don't have your passion, then it's not going to work for you. You have to decide, is this my passion? Even if money would not be part of the equation, would I still wake up in the morning and call people and prospect and do what I'm supposed to be doing? So the number one thing is, if you're in this business, are you passionate about this business? Are you passionate about making an impact in this career, in this business? The second thing is, you have to be resilient. You have to know that it's going to require a lot more work than just having an 8-to-5 job. That you have to be able to doing those prospects in the morning. That you can't give up. You know, there's a quote that Darren Hardy says. It's one of the biggest mentors that I like. And he says, no one can beat someone that does not quit. And that's beautiful, because sometimes we feel that in the business, it's just about the people that have the most knowledge. They have been the longest in the business, and in reality, they have gone that far because they haven't quit. They have seen the transition of the business. They have been in the ups and downs, but they still managed to be resilient and change according to the business. You know, there's another story that the author of Harry Potter had to submit his edition to 12 different publishers before he got accepted. And now it's the biggest seller out there with all the movies and all the series that he has accomplished. And like Larry said, we don't see the preparation stages. We don't see the roadblocks that most successful people encounter throughout their career. We want it bad enough, but we just don't want to walk the walk, and we don't want to go through those processes. So I think that's amazing. There's people that have to push out of their comfort zone. And I think that for us in this business is making those relationships. You know, Larry is a personal friend of ours, and throughout the conversations that we have had, one of the things that he said is, you need to love having conversations. You need to love communicating with people. And I think as realtors, we feel that we're in this system on a daily basis, that we pick up the phone, we go straight into having pre-qualification questions, and we don't take the time to make those relationships that are going to last beyond that one single transaction. Because at the end of the day, you can have a transaction today, but if you're not building a pipeline of future business, if you're not building that referral business that's going to come through time, then you're not servicing yourself as your own business. So more than just waking up and thinking what's going to be my next deal, you also need to think about what's going to be my next relationship. Who am I going to get to know today? Who am I going to help find that next home today? So building relationships is very important. Also, people that are successful, they're visionaries and they create. And talking about millennials right now, you know, one of the things that I hear from my agents is, I don't like Facebook. I'm really not a techie person. I wasn't born in this internet era, and that's completely fine because you can find your niche market. But you have to love what your clients love. And if right now we're bringing you all this information, letting you know that the next generation of real estate, unfortunately, it's going to be internet-based. It's going to be through social media. Then you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to create innovative ways of reaching your audience and getting a little bit more acquainted with your people, because at the end of the day, one of the things that Brian was saying, you may call somebody on the phone, but they might want to be text, and sometimes we don't use those ways of communication. We feel, okay, I'm a phone person, I'm only gonna reach my audience through phone. But millennials this day may not pick up your phone call, but they may answer a text message. So we have to continually create new ways of communication, and we need to adapt to the market. And I think the last thing is we have to be focused. Beyond our planning, also we have to know what's going to be my vision for today. And creating those daily habits, understanding that consistency is always going to win. You know, waking up that morning and saying, I'm going to prospect 1 hour a day. I'm going to make my 10 phone calls a day. I'm going to make my appointment a day. That concentration, knowing I'm not going to leave my office, because it's your office. Whether you're at home, whether you have an office that you go to, your own business, so it has to be treated as your office. I'm not going to leave my desk until I accomplish these 3 items, or those 2 items that I set myself to accomplish. You know, one of the quotes that I also like, it says that if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I will spend the first 4 hours sharpening my axe. And that's beautiful, because sometimes we don't understand that it's all about the preparation. It's all about working prior to the execution plan. So, you know, to wrap it up, I just want to let you guys know that yes, we have to transform with the market. We have to be open-minded to what's coming to us. Millennials, like we were talking about, are the way to go right now. So learn it, learn your market, and let's be successful in 2016.
Well, Francis, that was some fantastic content. Thank you very much. And directly in line with what Larry said. Comment on that? You got me, Larry?
I'm sorry, what was that, Reggie?
I was just saying that was some great content from Francis. If maybe you had any comment on that, because it kind of went directly.
Well, I know the two of you very well for many years, and no one works harder than the two of you do. So you embody the spirit of what it is that Francis was sharing. But I also know this, that in the end, creating a business plan, committing to a certain amount of tasks and activities every day, it adds up to being a successful entrepreneur. We all work for ourselves. I've worked for myself for years, but I also work for my clients. I work for the industries that I serve. In the end, the one thing that I've always known is the difference between an entrepreneur and agent. Agent works for themselves. They may hang their license with a broker. They have to. But in the end, I decide every day if it's going to be, it's up to me. In the end, the difference between an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur is accountability. And what that means is I'm accountable to my own plan. I'm accountable to someone else. I have an accountability partner. I'm accountable to my family, to the things I need to do to achieve the things I need to do to keep my children in the best possible schools, in the best possible environments for themselves. Being an independent agent, being an agent working for a broker is great. It's a very scary thing. The one thing you can do is commit to some form of accountability with someone outside of yourself. Francis and Reggie have done it with me for a long time. If anyone wants to email me, it's larryoliphant1@gmail.com. I'll be that person for you. As long as you check in, I'll check in with you. But when you check out, I'm already gone.
I can attest to that. But if you're serious about growing your business, and in particular, if you're a broker owner out there and you're really looking to reinfuse your agent's business and your business with a sales program that makes a huge difference, not only in the leadership development but at the agent level, I would highly recommend that you reach out to Larry, because he's phenomenal at what he does. That's why he's a performance coach for Fortune 100 companies around the country. And
I'm going to give away the secret to any broker owner out there today. The easiest model to both read and to apply is situational leadership. About a 3-page download. It's written 25, 30 years ago. It talks about the 4 levels of accomplishment, which is from unconscious incompetence, the things that someone doesn't know that they don't know, all the way through unconscious competence, the things you didn't even know that you know, and you just apply them day in and day out. But when you're developing an agent, it is the simplest model, and then you apply only 2 or 3 tasks at the beginning of that to help the person get the work ethic, the work regimen, the amount of work done to achieve the 2 levels of success we would want for anyone, which is an S2 or an S3. S2 means conscious incompetence, the things the person now knows that they don't know, so they begin to fill in the blanks. And then you get to a place where you have a top performer at conscious competence, all the things I know that I know, and I apply them every day. So situational leadership, just Google it, download it. If you ever want a 5-minute explanation of it, just send me an email at larryoliphant1@gmail.com.
Awesome, Larry. Thanks, guys. And now I'm very excited about our guest, Brian Hoylman, that's with us today. Brian's actually a senior vice president of a major real estate technology firm out of Salt Lake City. He's from Orange County, California, in the San Diego area. He's also a leading expert in the field of real estate, CRMs, lead generation, cultivation, and conversion. He has a long track record. Some of the very first tech companies that entered the real estate IDX and CRM world, Brian has grown those companies in the sales and marketing capacity with over, what is it, Brian, now three or four of them now I think you've done, and a lot of them have already been sold to publicly traded companies at this point. Now you're off on your other one, but Brian's here to talk to us today about your production on and working with leads. So Brian, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Reggie. I hope you can hear me okay. Do I sound okay? Is there an echo?
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. Everybody, it's nice to meet you. And I want to echo kind of Larry's thought process and what he's talking about game planning, and he made the NFL references. So we're going to start off by talking about managing your business, making sure you have the right game plan, making sure you have those type of things. I want to echo that in this regard. When we talk about managing leads, or where these leads are coming from, or where these millennials are coming from, Facebook, social media, advertising traffic, pay-per-click, expired, FISBOs, calling, cold calling, door knocking, real estate's the same as it's always been. I don't care what 100 years ago somebody was knocking on doors, if you know what I mean, Reggie.
I do.
So at the end of the day, it's always been the same. The only difference that's happened today is that today the sales process is much longer. And what I mean by that is prior to the internet, prior to all of these tools, prior to everything, and having a website, and having the right CRM, and having the right system, all of these things, people would get up, they would think about buying a house. They didn't have anywhere to search, so they would knock on someone, they would go and go to an open house. They were in the ready buying stage, and that's when real estate agents worked with them at that stage, within a 3-month window, right?
Yep.
Today, the buying process is 2, 3 years, 5 years. You may get somebody that's 25, just got a college degree, just got their first $75,000 job. They might be thinking about starting a family 3 years from now. They're not ready to buy yet, but they're going to buy 3 years. But they start shopping for a home today. We all see that, correct, Reggie? Correct, Larry?
We do.
Absolutely.
So your buying process is infinite. Infinite, there's no timetable. And agents often say, oh, this is a bad lead. They don't return my call. Oh, my gosh, I've sold millions of leads and marketing plans for thousands of agents. And the number one thing I hear is leads suck. Internet leads are terrible. This lead's bad. That lead's bad. Well, I get so sick of hearing that. All leads are the same. They're someday going to want to buy a house. They're someday wanting to do something. They may want to rent right now, but they really want to buy. The point is that there is someday opportunity. And if you don't have the right game plan, if you don't have the right approach to manage that lead, and I don't care if it's a referral, because referrals, they don't just wake up and say, hey, I want to call you, Reggie, and buy a house today. They start shopping 2 years on Zillow, and they're getting bombarded by every other realtor in the marketplace. So bye-bye referral if you don't have a game plan. Make sense?
It does. I love that message, Brian, because as you know, also being the founder of Advanta Realty with Francis, that we were a lead concentric business for quite some time, and that permeates that realtor expectation of when a third party provides a lead that they didn't actually pay for, tends to get prejudiced and judged and critiqued and scored. And the reality is, what's really funny now, several years down the road in the business, a lot of those original leads where agents would say were bad leads or not interested, they've come around and they're either in a buying process, they've already closed, or they're upcoming and giving our agents and ourselves notice that they're looking to make a purchase up in the near future. So I love the leads. I don't encourage anybody to be lead dependent. It's a supplemental thing. But I promise you this: if you work your database and your relationships properly, that lead that never picked up the phone that first 3 months that when you acquired it from wherever, Zillow, Trulia, your own friend referral, but you stay up to date with regular communication and providing value and messaging and emails and maybe a newsletter, things like that. When the time comes, guess who's going to be top of mind? You are. They're not just going to go drive around and call the first name on the sign. They're going to say, hey, you know, I keep getting a biweekly newsletter from this guy, Brian. He started way back in, you know, October of last year. Here it is, January, just after the Super Bowl, and now we're ready to buy because it's the prime buying season. Who should I call? I'm going to call Brian. He's right here in my email. He just left me a voicemail the other day, and that lead turned out to be just a wealth of opportunity.
So you get referrals, you get, you know, any leads, and then we're not talking internet leads. It could be referrals, it could be expired. All leads are the same. They're a someday opportunity. You don't know when. Whether it's somebody that called on a sign call or an open house, it's still a lead. They're online, they're shopping, they're still the same place. You often talk about agents and what they should do to market, and the reality is it's very simple. People shop for homes. Wherever they're shopping, you want to be found. If they're going to Realtor.com, you should have some sort of marketing on Realtor.com. If leads are doing, you know, driving around open houses, volunteer at open houses. The point being is that you have to be where the consumers are, or you're not going to be successful. You have to advertise. You could put a billboard in the desert, no one sees it. You're never going to make money in real estate. If you have sphere of influence, you're still farming your sphere of influence. You're still marketing them. You still have a database. It's no different. But let me get back on this idea of offense and defense in the Super Bowl and Larry's analogy. If you think about, you know, having the right game plan, offense is marketing. That's your offense. Okay. Offense is where you're marketing. Does that make sense, Reggie?
It does. I love that analogy.
Defense is your CRM. It's your ability to follow up, the ability to stop the lead from falling through the cracks. It's your management, your lead management, your processes. That is your defense. So if you look at which is more important, offense or defense, I would argue defense is more important than offense in many ways to win a championship, to win a game plan. They're both equally important. You can't be successful one or the other, but you have to have both. And most realtors don't even have a game plan. They don't even have a CRM or the right management system, the right product to even manage this process at all. Whether it's inside real estate, boomtown, some of these top systems, maybe they can afford one or two of these, maybe they can't. But brokerages, your brokers that are out there, you need to provide the right systems, not some aftermind after you know, at the end of the CRM that doesn't really do anything, that's not a good defense. You have to have the right system to go with your game plan, whatever that may be. That's number one. But really the most important thing I want to talk about is the complete, I don't know how to put it, Reg, we've talked about this, but understanding the fans. The fans are your consumers. I think we miss something in real estate today where we don't understand what the fans and who they are and who our prospects are. And that's going to be my message. So, Reg, you've heard me talk many times over the years about this. We think of buyers and sellers, right, Francis? I want buyers, I want sellers, right, Larry?
That's right.
And it gives agents the wrong impression of the fans, the people that are interested consumers. They are not buyers and sellers. The reality, Reggie, for all the listeners in real estate, when you think I got a lead or a prospect and you think they're a buyer, 40%, 30% own a home, and they need to sell a home a year from now and buy a home. So those people aren't really a buyer, they're a seller and a buyer.
Yep.
Not to mention, they're more apt to do something. It's a bigger commission opportunity. Somebody might be renting and they're thinking about buying a home someday. They're not a buyer yet. A buyer is somebody who's in a 3-month window that can actually buy, that actually can buy a house. Right, guys?
Yep.
A seller wants to sell right now. Most leads, what they fall into are homeowners and renters. That's all we deal with. Reggie, I can promise you don't have somebody homeless that's shopping your company's website right now. And I promise you, Larry, you've never dealt with a realtor that targets homeless people to buy houses. They're either targeting renters or they're targeting homeowners. When you call somebody a buyer as a lead, what ends up happening is you have a false sense of when their motivation is. Reggie, if I went to your agent and I said I have buyer leads, they're thinking they're in the 3-month window.
Right.
It's the mentality of every realtor. Would you agree?
No, definitely.
And it sets them up for failure. No matter what they do, they're set up for failure. They need to be thinking that these leads are either renting or homeowners. And by thinking that way, they can put the person on the right path for success. It's one or the other. Every lead is renting or every lead is a homeowner. Now, if you're targeting homeowner leads in your game plan, Larry, that's awesome. That's a double commission opportunity plus referrals. It's a higher value lead. If you're targeting renters, that's awesome because 30% of renters don't even know they can buy a house. And they can. They don't think they have the right credit score. So it's really about educating the consumer on what's possible when you know I'm a renter or I'm a homeowner. Agents need to think this way to really be successful, to really attack the marketplace with the right game plan. Otherwise, they're going to think, I want a lead that's ready to jump in my boat, and it goes back to Larry's and, hope marketing. I hope I get a buyer that wants to buy today. I hope I get a seller that wants to list their home. I hope somebody refers me business. I hope. It's not a marketing strategy. It's like playing darts blindfolded and hoping you hit the bullseye. You have to target the right consumer for the right reason, and then you have to have the right script. So the biggest challenge beyond just understanding, Reggie, and I hope you guys all agree, the biggest challenge besides understanding that these are renters and homeowners is so they have a lifetime cycle of the lead, meaning your renter may buy 3-5 years from now. Reggie, don't you want to be the guy they buy with?
Of course.
And Larry, your people that you deal with in the business world, if it's a homeowner, guess what? A homeowner lead will list their home they're going to list their home no matter what. Every homeowner will list their home someday. They're either going to list it, they're going to have a kid, they may pass away. At the point is that every home is going to be listed someday. So every homeowner lead has an infinite value to you as an agent. You're going to get a commission check for sure if you can maintain a relationship, right?
Brian, you hit on something a moment ago.
Yeah, Brian, hold on one second. Go ahead. Hey, Larry. I'm sorry, go ahead, Larry.
Brian, you hit on something that we could probably take an entire show or series of shows on, which is how do people buy. I've been studying advanced sales processing and buyer behavior for a long time. It's educate, motivate, commit. It is if I'm seen as an expert and I'm willing to share knowledge with people, motivate them to take action soon, not now, not based on my timing, but on the most opportune time for themselves, they will make the appropriate commitment. It is hunting for a buyer. Good luck to everybody out there. I will tell you, though, in corporate America, if there's anyone that I have done business with in the last 10 years, they are going to keep me close to them just from a recycling of the educate, motivate, commit timeline. It's the way people learn. If I knew, for instance, to your point about renters, if I knew, for instance, that people were living in a particular complex and their rent was between $1,100 and $1,800 and they probably needed a certain amount of income to be able to demonstrate, to be able to qualify for the apartment, I would continue to message to those people and educate them along the way that they really can own a home. When that time is right, I'll continue to update you with information about homes in the area for less or equal to what you're paying now and how easy it is to get into one of those homes when the time is right for you. You can always call on me. I'm the specialist in this area. I've helped convert more renters in this market within 5 miles of here to a privately owned single-family home than anyone else. When the time's right for you, let me be the person for you.
Correct, Larry. The problem that agents have is they don't mentally think this way, so they just think of it, oh, this is a buyer, maybe they're going to buy. How can I help you find a house? And the person blows them off and says, I'm just browsing. And the reality is that you need to know, hey, are you renting? Are you a renter? Or homeowner? And then you put them on the path for success. It's a simple concept that just doesn't happen. I talk to realtors all day long, and they tell me, hey, I don't want to work with renters. And I'm like, what? That's 68% of the shoppers in the marketplace right now in your database. Well, didn't we just give them the middle finger and say, hey, I don't like you? It makes no sense in this business. The reality is you have to have the right approach. What you said, Larry, is 100% what I would agree with.
It goes back to why you are so successful.
Hey, Brian,
which is
go ahead, Larry.
Pick a model. I remember when Reggie and Francis opened Advanza, and they were going to be a future forward-looking broker in the state of Florida, create tools and systems that allowed people to work where they wanted to work, how they wanted to work, how hard they wanted to work, but provide a layer of accountability to the access to those tools. They fought at every point to become that middle-of-the-road give people what they think they need and want to make them feel comfortable versus just give the right people that want to join Advanta the tools that they want to work, where they want to work, how they want to work, and retain the highest commissions and have a look towards the future of real estate, not to the way the real estate had been done in the past. And we kept for 4 years. Let's not go backward. Let's go forward. Those that want to succeed will continue to move forward in the model that you want to build. It's not for someone that wants a one office, 9 agents reporting every day, selling it the same way. That was not where Reggie and Francis wanted to take advantage. At every point that they got pushed back, they pushed harder forward into the model that makes them successful for who they are today.
Thanks.
They had a game plan, they stuck with it.
Yep. That's back to what Francis said about being persistent and tenacious about success. You know, it applies to the business owner and the realtor alike. That we're all the same. We all eat what we kill, and we're all business owners. So, Brian, you said you had one final point there?
Yeah, one final point. You know, if we think of offense and defense and having the right leads, it's easy to generate leads. Really not complicated. You can pick up the phone and call expired. You can, being an agent, it's so simple to generate. If you have the right platform, the right system, the right approach, getting leads is easy. The biggest problem that I see in this industry, beyond not identifying the actual consumer correctly, but the second biggest problem, and even more so, is that it do not have the right call cycle, the right follow-up cycle, the right long-term nurturing plan. It's a 5-year window. It's a lifetime. Homeowners will list and sell their homes over and over. It's a lifetime process. Where your leads, if you're in the business 20 years and you have 40,000 leads, you can write your own ticket. The point is, it's a lifetime process. You have to have the right system. But if new leads come in, Reg, the brand new lead, the person that registered, you have to understand today's marketplace and what it's like to be a lead. You know, it's like walking into a bar full of realtors for a lead, and everybody has the same pickup line. It's pushing what I call push marketing. It's pushing the consumers away. You know, and I know that if you ask the consumer survey what they think of real estate agents, would you think that it's a positive review?
I think realtors are in the top 5 list of most despised professions from a consumer standpoint, next to the IRS, insurance agent, used car salesman, and then somewhere in there are attorneys, and then realtors.
You know, that makes absolutely no sense, because home ownership is one of the 2 or 3 basic principles in making someone feel comfortable in the world, in the United States. And it doesn't need to be that way. It is experience drives behavior. If consumers display a particular behavior, it is because of the past experiences. A realtor went in, took the listing 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, overlisted it just in case somebody swam by and wanted to pay too much. And then the second person went in and had to work even harder. I love being in that marketplace because all I have to do is drive a different experience, and I will get the behavior that I want. I will wipe away all of that because I will be exactly who I am, who I need to be, who they need me to be.
You have to create a different experience for the consumer. You have to have the right system and game plan for that. So give you some statistics. The average lead that signs up, there's a common myth, Reg, that you hear, and Larry, you might hear this, is that you have to call a lead within 5 minutes or they're dead. They're not going to buy. Everybody hears this. It's actually the biggest, I'm not going to say it's not true. Most leads register on some site unless they're actively raising their hand about a property. If you call them up right away, they're going to get offended. They're going to get uncomfortable, Reg. They don't want to talk to you. It's a myth. Now, if the lead goes to Zillow and it's more ready to buy, and they're asking a question about a property, then yeah, you need to call them right away. But if it's a Google lead and you call them within 5 minutes, they're gonna ignore you most of the time. And that's what the experience is for my realtors and the teams that I help and coach. The reality is you should text them rather than call them right away and get permission to say, hey, is it okay if I call you about this property? I don't want to intrude. You'd be amazed on that message and how that works. They text you back, and they're happy because you were polite. I mean, these are little things. What I'm getting at, Reg, is that when you call leads, they're trained to ignore you. They're trained that, I want to buy right now. So the reality is the average lead that signs up for a real estate agent on any lead program, the average agent only calls a lead, Reg, 1.6 times.
That's crazy.
That's it. Now, keep in mind, every agent tells me, oh, I'm not like that. I hear that all the time. Everybody listening, brokers listening, I hear it all the time. But you secretly shop their sites and you never get a call. You know, I went to buy a house for my mom a few years back. She won a floor-level condo, 1 to 2 bedrooms. We had cash. I called 5 agents in San Diego, left messages that I'm a cash buyer. I need to buy a house within the next 30 days. Not one called me back on the properties. Not one. Not one single agent called me back.
Yep. I remember we did that test here. You and I kind of ran a similar test across the state for our system. And I'm proud to say that Havana has some of the best agents in the state of Florida with great loyalty and great professionalism, good customer service skills. But, you know, like you said, without that defensive system in place, working properly, and a proactive approach to your daily business like Francis was talking about earlier, you're going to let them slip through the cracks, and it is embarrassing. Now, I think the final thing here is, Brian, is that, you know, what you said about the reputation for realtors, we control that. I know our team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, our team definitely. They understand that statistic, but we have a lot of listeners and viewers out there that, you know, are maybe newer to real estate, or they have a prejudged opinion about what others want. We don't know what they want. What we do know is they want to be treated professionally and communicated with consistently. They want to definitely be followed up on if they ask a question in a timely manner. And then when you do provide them the information, make sure it's the answer that they were looking for, or the data or information or the next step that they were asking for, and then follow up again. It's a difficult thing for some realtors to really grasp that relationship building is the key to your success. I want to thank you, Brian, for attending, and Larry and Francis for joining the show. Remember, Florida Realtor Radio, Top Producer Tuesday. We're here. Our goal is to help you achieve, at minimum, at least one more sale, one more listing than you had last month. And if you had 0, then let's get out there and get that first one for you for this month. You know, you got your license for a reason, and it was to be successful financially and in a lifestyle that you control. Make it happen this year. Make this your best year ever. Our goal is to get you motivated, get yourself out of the office and out into the field and hunt down those new opportunities every day. With that, if you ever would like to reach us or have any comments, you can always send an email to floridarealtorradio@gmail.com. Again, Larry's contact information is larryoliphant1@gmail.com. You can reach Francis and I and Larry at floridarealtorradio.com.
You can reach me right at Brian at insiderealestate.com.
And Brian Hoyleman with some fantastic insights into the world of real estate leads and working them. You can reach him at Brian at insiderealestate.com. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's about our hour right there. We look forward to seeing you next week, where we'll have on some top producer agents actually hitting it hard where the rubber hits the road in the field, to share with you some of their success points so it can help you be more successful today. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.